Hi, and welcome to AXSChat. We're delighted to be over in Colombia this week. We're welcoming Felipe Betancur, who is from the Fundación Todos, Podemos, Ayudar, and is talking about his project, which is all relating to making assistive technology from everyday stuff, which is Ayudar para Todos. So I'm sure I've mangled the pronunciation, but welcome. It's fantastic to have you with us. We're really interested to hear what you're doing. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and in particular about the project?
Thanks for the invitation. And the project is about how to change, how to make better the lives of people with disabilities without the big barrier of the high cost of the assistive technology devices. Here in Colombia, you cannot find even one toy store or computer store that has some devices for people with disabilities. So what we do is think MacGyver style, if you remember MacGyver, and with everyday materials you can find at home. This, for example, is a spoon to help someone with something tan simple as to eat. So you took PVC pipe, use this from a bicycle, and when you take this and a spoon, this helps someone eat and improve their lives. We make things like that.
That's fantastic, and we're really keen on the whole sort of makerspace stuff. It's what you're doing is really innovative, and what we've seen over the years is assistive technology being really expensive, prohibitively so. What you're doing is enabling people, making it affordable, and essentially opening up the possibilities for people to engage more in society. That's great stuff. In particular, I see lots and lots of gadgets and bits of tech behind you. I do remember MacGyver, but I was going to say you're more like the A team, or maybe it's the AT team. You know, I don't know whether you're Mr. T or Murdoch or maybe you're the face. But either way, you know, I think what you're doing is fantastic. Can you tell me a little bit more about the work of the foundation?
Yeah, sure. Before I starting with the foundation, I didn't start the foundation because I have a son of someone near with a disability. It's because I love technology. I love video games, computers, internet, all those devices. And I work with e-commerce since I was 12 years old. When I was in school, I was already bringing to Colombia things from United States, from China, and selling. Because I love technology, I worked with that from 14 years until I was 26 years old. Now I am 34. So I have been for 8 to 10 years with this project, still working with technology. But what I'm doing is I made a question for myself. I asked, what can I work in that helps other people? And people with disability has a big problem with what I love, using a cell phone, using video games, using computer. So I start making a project developing those ideas, those devices that can help them use the same things I use for working, for playing, for communication, but without the high barrier of the high cost, teaching them how to make them themselves.
So when you are engaging with people and identifying their needs, where do you start? How do you look at an individual and say, what can I do for this person? What type of adjustments can I do to this particular individual? Could be, you know, a 10-year-old or could be a 75-year-old. What can you tell us about your process of trying to deliver something that people can use and solve the problem in terms of access?
That is the best part of this project because it's social innovation from the base of the pyramid. What is that? Sometimes universities, big companies have a very big workshop where they have millions of dollars to develop great things. but they don't get the time to know the people and what they really need. We are at the opposite position. What? I go to a very far town in any means of transport, very far, 10 hours in the jungle. So I go there and I see people with disability that don't have money, that they don't have any way to access to other solutions. So they give me their problems. They ask me, Felipe, my son has a problem and he cannot eat. He cannot use the cell phone. He cannot hold a pencil to study. So they give me real problems. And what is my work? I have to develop real working solutions with the materials I have there. That is the A team of the MacGyver style, because I cannot send them, bring something from United States or from our, with what they have them in their homes, in their workshops. We have to develop a low-cost solution that really works. And when we make that solution work, when we make a new invention or adaptation for that special case, I make a tutorial here in this place by myself. I use my cell phone to record myself. I press record and then I jump in front of the tripod and record myself. And I make a tutorial teaching how to make that device that I already know that it will work. So when I make that device and I share it online on YouTube, on our YouTube channel that is Ayudar para Todos, maybe, or I know that there are a lot of other people in the world that have the same problem. And with that same solution, we can change their life. So one problem, one solution to a problem, when we share the tutorial online, can help people from all over the world.
So when you are building the products, I guess sometimes you might have parents and friends. Everybody's going to be involved on that, right?
Yeah, so, it's the people.
So are you also, besides doing the product, if you are traveling 10 hours, if they have a problem tomorrow, you can't just go there. So what type of competences are you trying to provide them for them to somehow be independent if they need to fix the problem that they have if something is broken?
Here is an example of what we do. This is a regular computer mouse, okay? Here is a regular plastic spoon, rice spoon. So what we do here is very simple. Suppose someone needs to control a mouse, but they don't have their hands, they have their feet. Here in Colombia, there is no way to buy a foot control mouse. It doesn't exist. With $1 million, you cannot find it or buy it. So we teach how to build themselves a foot control mouse. So you make with anything you can, you make a hole on the plastic here, and then you took the plastic spoon, put it in there, and then you already have a foot control mouse. You simply put your foot on and you move forward, backward, to a side. And when you want to use the click with your feet, you press the left click or right click, and we teach that. So we teach to the parents, to the teachers, to someone in the library, for when they met the situation with people with disability that need the device comes to their places, they now have the knowledge to make them themselves, and they don't need me. So if someone breaks things and boom, they break this thing, they can repair them or make 1, 2, 3, 10 more. And the size, you simply cut the plastic spoon to take the foot control mouse size. So we teach the people to make things like this so they don't depend on us all the time. But when they need us, they have this means. They have the internet, the chat, WhatsApp, any kinds, and we help them online.
I love this, and I particularly like the fact that you're teaching people to be self-sufficient. It's very important. Obviously, what you demonstrated is simple adapted tech, but I've seen before that you have used very low expense electronic stuff that is available now to create things that cost an absolute fortune in the global north. So, for example, specialist magnifiers for people with visual.
Yeah, we have developed.
cost a phenomenal amount, and I see that you've made one out of a webcam somewhere.
Yeah, here is it. So a portable video magnifier. A video magnifier can cost up to $2,000, $5,000, very big. And the problem is not only the cost. The problem is that suppose you from Europe, they make a lot of donations to Colombia. So for example, in a library in Medellín, they have a commercially high cost video magnifier. But if I am at my school and the teacher says, open your book on the page 10 and read, what can I say to a teacher? Wait for me, I'm going to a library that had the specially device for me to read. Or if you are on a Sunday morning making your homework, you must say to your parents, please take me to a library because there is the device that I need to study. Depending on those high-cost devices, it's a disability, because when you don't have the commercially high-cost device, when you don't have them, if it's not working, if the library is closed, you cannot study, you cannot work, you cannot do nothing. So things like this, here is a low-cost webcam, a plastic box. This is a spoon, a plastic spoon, and simply there is a knot to make it the weight. So I put it here, and then I move this on a book, on any letter, and on the computer screen, it magnifies the text. So this one costs like $10 and the other $2,000, and it is portable. So I can have it for my school, for anywhere, and things like this is what we really work, what we make, and very low-cost solutions.
So I'm thinking right now you're buying household objects and stuff like that. Are you excited by the prospect of 3D printing and what that could do for you?
All these devices are 3D printed. Someone make a really good person, nice person, make a donation to a foundation, and I receive a 3D printer. Yeah, I'm excited about that. It has a big potential for making all kind of things. The problem is this is really great for prototypes, but I cannot make these solutions when I say in a small town, 10 hours away from my home. So this is great for designing and for sharing the designs, but for sharing, we make a clay mold with this, a mold to reply this using resins, I don't know, resinas, and other materials. So without printing, we can copy the designs and give it to her.
Fantastic. I think that as the price of printing comes down and they become more portable, it may well be that you can distribute the designs. But for now, that seems like a very pragmatic way of dealing with the issue.
Two or three or our inventions that are really funny or great or useful. This is not a very weird invention, and you, for people that doesn't have their hand amputee, or can you use their fingers to touch us? You simply touch this and easy to manage cell phones and tablets and all those things. You put it, if you're amputee or something, up, and all that. This one also is very, people loud about it. A computer mouse using deodorant, a recycled deodorant bowl. The deodorant, what you use for your hygiene. So you put the deodorant bowl, this to the left click, and that way, using this plastic case, you have a very a trackball mouse. Use your hand, your nose, anywhere on the mouse, and it's a very low-cost solution. And this one, like to control with your head the keyboard and all devices, and this cap
Felipe, you're breaking up a little bit.
This the tactile pen is, oh, sorry. No, it's working.
It's okay. Yeah, we're encountering a little bit of delay. So from what I gathered, you've made a trackball with the ball from a deodorant. That's pretty fantastic. And you're creating head pointers. You seem to be back with us now. There was just a bit of, I think it's just the internet playing silly games with us.
Okay, sorry. Let's continue. You manage the questions.
So Felipe, when you know what type of with the work that you have developing, what are your your impressions in relation into breaking isolation of people with disabilities in the way how they participate in in the modern life, using technology? What type of feedback were you able to collect from your relationship that you build with the people that participate in your workshops?
It's really great. As I told you before, people are really happy that when library of the very far away school and students with disability in your class, and you don't know how to help them, and we get with our workshop and teach them how to make solution for those kids, because they feel useful and change students' lives and help them really study the real inquiries, the feedback we get from people. The part, a blind kid mother told me, so using assistive technology devices and software, my kid can study. Yeah. And he can work. Yeah. And he can play. Yeah. And communicate. Yeah. He can look at Facebook. He can go to YouTube. He can do anything, any other things that other kids are already doing. So you see a very sad parent with the disability, with here in Colombia, it's very difficult to find solution and to help. And when we teach to do these devices, and not only the devices, we also share a lot of knowledge. We teach Braille for the blind. We teach sign language for deaf people. We also teach a lot about software and applications, software for the computer, apps for the cell phones and tablets. So we teach a lot about all the free resources we can give a parent or a teacher or someone that want to work with inclusion to really help the inclusion of people with disabilities in their communities.
We have been talking here more about you and the work that you are doing, and the people that you are helping. And I'm sure that in your day-to-day life, you also connect with a lot of business. Do you think that the work that you are doing also helping business to change the way how they think about people with disabilities, also in terms of people that can consume services like anybody else, people who need to access to a website and buy online like anyone else, or access to a coffee shop because there's no ramp there? Do you think that there's some good work being, good perceptions coming out from the work that you are doing?
Yeah, talking about the market that you have, people with disability and their power to buy for tourism, for other things. We are starting at that point. Here in Colombia, we are still like in the other countries, well, in the 80s, because here is, oh, he has a disability, oh, too bad, and cry, oh, look, someone in a wheelchair. we are still thinking like that in Colombia. So here in Colombia, if you see someone blind, is a pure blind guy. Here, they don't think they have the ability to buy something. They don't have the ability to go to a movies, to a cinema, to a mall and buy things. In a restaurant where someone with disability comes in, the waitress doesn't know how to treat them. So we are starting to change that. And this low-cost solution help. For example, if a company want to help with work inclusion, they cannot buy the assistive technology devices. But you can say them, you can have devices like this, very low cost solution of the food control mouse with a plastic spoon to help someone work in your company, make the same work that is doing someone without disability using these devices. And the government have some taxes benefits for if you take to your company people with disabilities. So with the taxes benefits, they are starting to make a little change, giving work to people with disability, and we're working really hard on that.
So you see that there's an opportunity for you to work with business to help them support employees with disabilities.
Yeah, totally. And schools, universities, the government. We are at a 0 point. If you see it as something bad, you simply cry and okay, it's very bad. But as I am an entrepreneur, I see that as an opportunity, a big market to change the social and the inclusion in Colombia.
That's great. That's music to my ears too. Has the foundation got any corporate supporters or companies that it works with regularly?
It has not been very easy. Saying the truth, the first year was very difficult. I went to meetings, one meeting at 7 a.m., another at 11 a.m., another in the afternoon, and I get to take my food at 9 p.m. All the day walking, going to meetings and no eating because we didn't have the money. That money had to be used to pay the bus transportation to those meetings. So we had a lot of meetings, but right now people get to know us, spaces like this that people get to know us or open the doors from new spaces. Basically, what we work now is the government and foundations and private people with donation pay for our workshops. So when we give a workshop and at a very far away town, they are paid by someone or by some company, but they are totally free for everybody that goes to that workshop. And all the help I have with them by WhatsApp, by email, by any means, are also free. So for people, these are free, but are paid by a company, and that way we can make the workshops.
So you're operating on the sponsorship model. So how, if companies want to sponsor the foundation, how do they go about engaging with you?
Two ways. Like I say, I have a lot of video tutorial for YouTube, so they can sponsor the YouTube tutorials. We can have any company logo. This video is brought by, so we can help. They can help like that. Also, when we gave the workshops, real presential workshops, that is also great. And I want to talk to you about a new business model that we are developing. For example, this is a big, simple, basic remote control for the TV. Power on, power off, change channels, and change volume. You cannot find a control like that in Colombia, but we are developing this control. But when I teach, I said to a parent, I teach how to do this on YouTube. They say, no, I don't know how to use a solder. I don't know how to use electronics. So why don't you show it to me? So if bringing one device like this from United States costs $200 and this one costs $10, what we are going to do is selling these devices, for example, at $50. That is something that people can afford. And these are going to be made by people with disabilities. We are going to give employment to people with disabilities to develop these devices for helping other people with disabilities. So I make the total circle, close the circle of work inclusion and with assistive technology, and you don't have to bring them from United States. These are made here locally. So that is the new idea we're working on 2018.
That's fantastic. Love that. And I like the simplicity of the remote control too. My remote control is so complex that I always end up making a mistake. So maybe I'll have to watch the tutorial and break out the soldering iron and make myself one.
That happens.
No, that's a very interesting component of the work that you are doing, is that you are also providing people with skills.
Yeah.
So people with disabilities and without disabilities, by being able to participate in those workshops, they are, learning how to do something different. And sometimes parents, they may decide to do things themselves and learn new skills as well. What type of importance are you providing to that aspect? Because it's not just about building products to build products for people with disability, but also about providing people with new skills that they can create a business. They can, even if they don't live from it, they can make a profit from some small thing that they can do.
Yeah, like I said, I am an entrepreneur. Since I was like 3 years old, I sell things at my school. All my life, I have liked to sell. So in those workshops, we also teach, for example, e-commerce. And we teach people with disabilities and the foundation and the parents to make their really small companies, startups, to start developing some ideas. For example, with help of our devices, how they can have some profit, earn some money, work at their homes. That is also very helpful for the, I don't remember the name, caregivers, I think, when a parent stays all the time caring for someone with disability at home that cannot take out of home, they cannot work, they cannot study. So when we help with those devices, with these ideas, with the new project that I'm developing, they can make, for example, these controllers at home.
Yes.
And I told them, please make me 5 controllers. They make them at home, carrying their special ones without any problem. And when they finish them, they give to me, I pay them, and they can work. So it's not only the skill, it's changing their life, being independent. They can go to a market and have some money. People with disability with these devices can have some money to go to a market and buy and help with home, help pay where they live, and buy anything they want. Go and eat an ice cream.
That's fantastic. And I know that one of the things that is often a barrier is the lack of flexibility. You effectively, by enabling people to do gig economy style work for you, you're giving them the flexibility to still be carers and make that additional income. And I think that's really great. And I also applaud the fact that you're teaching people new skills and making them employable. And through this whole thing, you're also changing people's perceptions, because when they see that people have money, that they're succeeding, that they're making money, that they're able to spend, that changes society's perceptions of the value of people with disabilities, and that's hugely important. So I really applaud the work that you're doing. I think it's fab.
I want to take 1 minute to talk about this bow. I know time is ending, but this is, we won a first prize award, globally prize awards in Spain with this bow. This is a gold ball bow. The sounds, this is played by people, blind people. So with the sound, they can play. Here in Colombia, one gold ball the cost is $1,200. $1,200, very expensive. And I built so we only have six balls in all Colombia. So the teacher from Go told me, Felipe, can you build a low cost? It's similar to a basketball ball. So I went, took a basketball ball, I opened it, I took a plastic ball, a hard plastic ball, put in some things that make the noise. Then I used some foam around it. I closed the ball. I drilled some spaces here, and I took the ball to the goal ball where they play goal ball, and while they were playing, the teacher took out their original expensive ball and put mine, and they continue playing. So it was very amazing. But with a $10 do-it-yourself ball, they could play the same, and it was really great because blind people here in Medellín were at their homes doing nothing, without studying, without friends, without nothing. And the goal ball game is an opportunity to get out of their homes, to meet new friends, to practice a sport for their heads, for their minds. Is really great that they are, it's my birthday, so they're going to a birthday, they're having a social life, they're having sports, and all that depends on the high cost of the ball. So with this low cost ball, we can improve their life. So it's something I wanted to tell you.
And that's great. And we actually, one of our first chats, we had a lady called Georgie Bullen on, who is one of the UK's goalball team. So we know about goalball, and I can't believe how expensive the balls are, though. I think that's fabulous, and I think I'm partly torn. So I understand that sometimes developing assistive technology requires a lot of investment and thought and everything else, and they've been doing it for a long time, and people need to get paid in order to put in the effort to make the technology. But equally, by putting the price so high, then they're not serving the needs of the target audiences. I think is a sort of difficult balance to strike, which I think you're doing a good job on, of making a sustainable business whilst keeping the price down low. And that's something that I think that we can learn from you in the global north, effectively, because we have high prices. Yes, we are more wealthy societies, but the people that really need these tools aren't that wealthy a lot of the time, and so we still need low cost assistive devices in the UK, in Europe, in the US too. Even though you can buy expensive ones off the shelf, I think that we need to find new financial models for making this stuff cheaply, but also enabling the makers to make a living. Because what I don't want to do is see people that are facilitating life-changing technology being put in a position where they don't have a livelihood anymore. So I like the model that you've got, where you're acting entrepreneurially and you're generating income, because I think that's really important, because without that, everyone's relying on subsidy, and then we go back to the sort of the charitable model of everybody's a charity case. And I think that what you're doing is much more empowering than that. So congratulations on the work that you're doing. We're at the end of our half hour. It's been fascinating and fantastic. Sorry to the audience about the slight glitch. That's the life on the live internet for you. I think it's been great. Really looking forward to you joining us on Twitter. So thank you very much, Felipe.
Thanks a lot.